When you look at media today and storytelling, it's spoken from an ivory tower that you can't relate to. We're not seeing each other eye to eye anymore. People want something they can feel, they can feel, they can feel, they can feel, they can feel.
At the end of the day, I can't look at myself in the mirror knowing that I've only polluted the culture. I want to make sure that people know my heart.
You know, for me, the inspiration has always been life experiences mixed with, you know, just my love for music.
The majority of the rappers, we all from together. We from poverty, so we know what it's like. When you hit the block, you giving back. You got to. That's just what it do.
And Peter, he never makes the urban communities look like it's terrible. He always tells a story about how far we've come.
Well, my childhood friend growing up, he actually died of cancer, and I realized, you know, how many people experience what I've experienced at that point, like the loss of someone.
I don't know, I always focus on the positive of being a woman. Guys are pretty boring to me.
Your eyes, everything you see is just visual, man, and stuff is way more real than that. What you can feel with your spirit and what you can feel with your heart is way more real than what you can feel with your eyes, man.
Some of my favorite rappers never made it far because they wouldn't step out of their box. You know what I'm saying? Like they wouldn't. And then you see artists like Jay or Kanye who never follow rules.
It's very important to have a balance of a foundation of really good people around you to keep you humble.
I think admiration ranks higher than love. When your woman looks at you and really admires you, like admires your grind, admires what you're doing, and vice versa, you know, you probably gonna stick with each other, you know what I'm saying?
It represents just our life, man. Like, you know, the music, it talks to us.
Hey, I'm Peter Bailey, author and Nitecap host, and we're in Miami. I'm with my man Big Marquis for 804ENT.com, one of the realest, deepest brothers. I had a moment to share with.
Thank you, man. Oprah is significant because she became a billionaire, but am I wrong if I say she became a billionaire ultimately by interviewing people?
I think what makes Oprah so powerful as a brand is that she brought the soulfulness into connecting with people. So what I like to say is that what sets Oprah apart and any great interviewer apart is that they're not interviews at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of like me and you. It's a conversation between two people that have a mutual respect for each other as human beings, sharing a moment, sharing experience. And Oprah is amazing at that. She's the best at it.
Did she start off as an actor, or?
She started off, I believe she started off as a journalist. And that's what makes her her too, is that she had the fundamentals of journalism.
Okay.
Not to speak ill on the new crazes. We know the new fad is the interview, the interview process, but people like Oprah had a journalistic background, a sound journalistic background. We all came from, the writing and the reporting. So years of just, when I speak to journalism students that want to go straight into the interview process, you own your skills by those crime stories.
Yeah.
Those fire chasing stories. When I worked at the newspaper, I did stories where I had to go cover a fire.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most glamorous, exciting thing, but in that experience, I learned how to connect with people.
Okay.
And the key to the great interview process is just connecting with people. And you can't connect with someone if you don't have a lot of experiences to delve back from.
Right.
Because you're feeling their pain, you're feeling their joy, you're feeling their anger.
Right.
If you don't have that life experience, how can you connect with someone?
Yeah, I agree with that, because for her to become a billionaire off of the interview process, connecting with people, you know, is definitely important. I think that, you know, from people having the same backgrounds or being interested in I think it's the same things. I mean, what I'm saying is, like, I read that your major was English.
Yeah, I was an English major with a concentration in journalism and a minor in theater.
Okay, yeah. See, I ain't get to go to college and get my major in English, but that was always my favorite subject. I was always interested in words. The simple words, you know, were just as good, like significant, or you know, when you can use those words, it meant just as much as it did to know the bigger words that you can say and nobody knows what you mean. Right. And I guess that's reserved for a different conversation or a different crowd. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I believe when people using certain vocabulary words, they're trying to show their intellect.
Right.
You know, the definition of profound is being powerful in the least amount of space. Right. You could be Bob Marley was profound. I don't want to wait in vain for your love. Mm-hmm. There's no big vocabulary words there.
Yeah, right.
But how many of us can relate to a woman, I don't want to wait in vain for your love?
It was nice and simple.
That human connection.
What I used to do when I was in prison, I did some federal time for some charges that was significant. And I used to get a book and I would read these stories, and what ended up happening was if I ran across a word that I didn't know, I'd take that sentence out the book. So that way I know how to say it in a sentence, and I'm taking the definition too. So that's when I got hip to the thesaurus. So now I got a book of synonyms where I can use this word in a sentence, and I know all of the words that sound similar to it that I can use in a conversation. Because I came to the conclusion that if you can communicate effectively, then you can hang in certain circles, you know, and you know, not have that background as far as a college, but at the same time, I feel like prison is an institution, you know, where you get to learn a lot about yourself. You know, I mean, there's guys in there that's using like 3 different rags to wash their face now. You know, they got time to take that type of self-inventory to notice, I want to use this rag for my body, this rag for my face, and, you know.
I'm going to drop a bomb as you say that. You know, I wrote Trick Daddy's memoir.
Yeah.
So I spent 3 years writing his memoir. So for 3 years, I interviewed guys locked down. Mm-hmm. And what I discovered about the prison system is that in that moment, a human being, from what I gather, a human being is so stripped of everything that's deflecting you from what you really are. Right. So what I've discovered is that at the bottom of self is when you learn self. Right. When you're stripped of your dignity, in a sense. That's when you learn self. So I found that the guys in prison I would talk to were some of the most introspective people I've ever met. So, like you said, you know, it's sad that for a lot of our brothers, that had to become their education. Yeah. But it is education.
You know, I was more attracted to the struggle. I was kind of ashamed to say that, you know, my mom, she made it out of the projects and we bought a house.
Ain't that something?
Yeah, it was like I was ashamed.
Ain't that something? Because we was having this conversation the other day. We were talking about success guilt.
Yeah,
on the
guilt.
On the part of black people, where when I went to college, I grew up, you know, in St. Thomas, and a lot of my guys went down. Yeah. And I remember being in school, just, I'm in this pristine university. Yeah. University of Delaware, and I'm finding myself not happy there because I'm wondering, why did I make it out? Right. Thinking, and if you've noticed, in our society, in particularly black culture, we've been taught to frown at things that are inspiring. Right. Yeah. Good diction, positivity. And you know, I tell people all the time, I don't know who's to blame or what not to blame, but in my conversations, I always look at the how does this art relate to us? And what I've noticed when you just touched on that point, it made me think about something I'm very passionate about, is that when did the hood become something marketable and cool? Right. struggle is painful.
Yeah.
You know, I've never fully gotten over the death of my brothers.
Yeah.
But somehow, it's this, the G mentality has become something that it's been marketable, and it's become pushed to our kids, where our kids feel that suburbia is bad.
Right. Right.
And when you just touched upon that, not to interrupt you, but it really made me think, is this intentional? I mean, because the truth is, for every 50 Cent, for every Jay-Z, there's 1,000,001 other brothers. Now, I'm happy for those brothers' success.
Yeah.
But for kids to think, okay, I can cop out on the block, I can re-up, I can move packs, boom, 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 and they live this amazing, fabulous life, check the statistics.
Right.
For every 50, there's 1,000,000 of us dead.
Right.
I like this conversation, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. I told her the word minority is easier to attach to a young man with his father than it is to the one, because you're not in the majority of 10 out of 10 friends. You're the only one growing up with your mom and dad.
So for those of us that grew up in a stable black environment,
we're the minority,
and we want to become the majority. Right. So we create this cycle of hardship and pain.
Right.